Thank you. You've all heard the phrase, you are what you eat. Well, there's something more powerful shaping your experiences every day and who you become. It's what you think. Now, how many thoughts do you think you have every day? Let me hear some numbers. A billion. Whoa, you have a productive mind. Any other numbers? 100. Well, we don't really know for sure because it comes down to what is the definition of a thought, but people think it's somewhere between 6,000 and 60,000 thoughts. The thing is that most of your thoughts are repetitive. In fact, 90% of your thoughts are on repeat. And your thoughts slowly become beliefs and slowly inform the actions that you take. We've heard that over and over again from the speakers tonight. If your thoughts are quietly shaping who you become, your thoughts are quietly shaping who you become. Are you becoming who you want to be? So if you think about it this way, what's your route? If you think about the first 3 months of the year, what are the thoughts that topped your list? Were they negative? Were they positive? How are they shaping your mindset and your choices every day? I'm going to share a couple stories with you. It was 1980. I was in the 6th grade. And I decided I wasn't good at math. I had been admitted to a special math program where if I had stuck with it, by the end of high school, I would have had the equivalent of a college degree in mathematics. But I was having a hard time. I didn't think I was good enough. I didn't think I was smart enough. I thought everybody else was doing better. And unconsciously, I built a thought in my mind that really stuck with me for a good part of my life. In high school, I only got a 3 on my AP Calc test. I thought it was too hard. In college, I didn't pursue architecture because I thought it would be too hard. I was too scared. It would be too much about math. Well, it took me 35 years and an architecture class a couple of years ago to know I would have been great at it. And you know what? There was very little math. But instead, when my mother went to withdraw me from the program, the professor told her that I was doing great. I was getting a B. I was one of the top grades in the class. But I had already decided I was not good at math. So make sure every day you're conscious of your thoughts. I didn't know that I was deciding something then that would have such a major impact on my life. All right, now fast forward, 2002. It's my early days of adulting, right? And I really wasn't very happy with my life. I had just been rejected by my partner of 5 years. I found a tumor, which luckily was benign and had had 2 surgeries. And every day I went to work with a mansplaining boss. You know what that's like, right? And one day, I should say first, the highlight of many of my days was coming home at the end of the day, sitting on the couch with my cats and eating 2 Oreo cookies. That was my reward for getting through the day. Well, one day I came home and my toilet was leaking. It wasn't like running so I could turn off the valve. It wasn't like I could jiggle the handle. It was water, stinky water, all over the floor around my toilet base. And so what do? I call my dad. Well, my dad lived in Tennessee. I lived in Florida. It was before the days of FaceTime and smartphones. I couldn't just call him up and show him. I tried to explain what was happening. He tried to explain what I should do. I hung up the phone and I went to do it. So I get one of the bolts off the bottom of the toilet. I go to try to get the other bolt off the bottom of the toilet. It's not budging. There is nothing I can do to get that bolt off. Dad, what do I do? Well, I don't think you can do it. A plumber would use a hacksaw to cut the bolt. What? I hung up the phone. In my mind, I had just, I was thinking my life stinks, and what I had just heard was, you can't fix it. Well, I got out a hacksaw. I sawed that bolt in half. I went to Home Depot. I found a $2 part, this little wax ring, and I came back and I fixed my toilet. And soon thereafter, I decided I would take that figurative hacksaw to my life. I sold my house. I sold my car. It was a five-speed black Audi. I loved it. And I sold most of 90% of my stuff. And I moved to New York City to get my business degree, where I knew no one. A couple of years later, I had not only a master's degree in business, not only enduring friendships that last to this day, and a new husband, but a job on Wall Street and an opportunity a couple of years later to move to Switzerland for work and travel the world for a year. So remember, you can change it. You can change your thinking. I didn't know at that time what my passion was or what my purpose was. That was too tall an order. I just knew I didn't want the life I had, and I could change it. One more story. 2020. It's the height of COVID, and I've been diagnosed with breast cancer. I was scared, and all I could think of is, I am sick, and I am going to get sicker going to these doctor's offices and hospitals when there's no vaccine, there's nothing they know how to do yet to help people with COVID. Well, after weeks of tests and uncertainty, I had to make a decision about what would come next. I had all of this data from these tests. I had all of this input from these doctors. I knew that my mom and many of her aunts had had cancer, sometimes multiple times. And I had to decide how I was going to get rid of it and what I would do. Well, I chose to do the most aggressive course I could in terms of surgery and reconstruction. I wanted to be healthy. I wanted to make sure it didn't come back. And I knew I wanted to feel good about myself. Now, let me share with you that most women, many of you, and most likely there are women in the room who have shared this experience with me, don't come away from it with a great body image. As a teenager, as a young adult, I never had a great body image. But I wanted to be healthy. And what I decided in that moment of making my decision was I was going to be strong. I wasn't going to think about body image, but I was literally going to become strong. For 3 years now, I've gone to a trainer 2 times a week, actually with my husband. And in February, on my birthday, 5 years after I was diagnosed with cancer, I lifted 315 pounds in a glute bridge. I do. Thank you. I do bench presses, I do overhead presses, I do glute, goblet squats, all these things I never thought I could do. I run 3 to 4 times a week. Last year, I did 2 5Ks. And a couple of years ago, I couldn't even run for 5 minutes continuously. I anchored my thoughts on one thing. I want to be strong. I will be strong. Develop a mental image of where you're headed. Hold on to it. I held on to it, and I hold on to it to this day. You can change your playlist, right? Your raps next year can look very different. For me though, when I said I was bad at math, I held on to that for a very long time. The good news is I learned some tools along the way. I pursued a career in financial services that was highly successful, and I'm retired today. But along the way, I learned things like reframing, to go from my life stinks to I will change it. From I am sick to I am strong. There's some important truths here. Thoughts are not facts. You've heard that said in various ways from other speakers tonight. And your brain strengthens what you repeat. Be careful what you put on that loop. Be careful of the brain rot. And now I want you all to say with me, thoughts are not facts.
Thoughts are not facts.
There you go. There's 3 questions you can take away. I'm not telling you to do anything tomorrow, but there's 3 questions. Here's a tool I learned. Think. When you go back to that rap list, what was at the top? Is it true? Is it helpful to you? And is there another thought that would be more helpful? Let's wrap this up. Every day you practice being someone. I'm still practicing. Yes, I'm 55, I'm retired, I'm still practicing. After my career in financial services, I decided now I want a career in community service and engagement. But you know what? I don't have a roadmap for that. Actually, if I reframe that, if I stop, I'd say, I've taken some valuable steps. I joined the Commission for Women, and now I'm the chair of the Commission for Women. I have an opportunity to have an impact. That is thought and reframing it and making a decision about where you will go and actions you will take that will change your future. And the last thing I'd say is, don't leave it in your head. Make it tangible. So whether it's a saying on your gym wall, a writing you put on your mirror, journaling, or something that you hold and carry with you every day, make it tangible to remind yourself that you control your thoughts. I wear this little silver necklace. It's a mountain, and it reminds me that the best views come after the hardest climbs. It reminds me of how strong I felt recently when I was climbing in Yosemite, and it reminds me that I will find my path. My thoughts have changed who I am and will continue to do so. You are what you think. Thank you all for listening.